Cabernet Sauvignon. Most people think picking a great wine takes years of experience. It does not. It takes understanding one grape. The grape that did not just survive the wine world, it dominated it. Cabernet Sauvignon is the most planted wine grape on earth. In every serious wine region on the planet, from Bordeaux to Napa to Patagonia, this grape shows up. The secret is in the skin. Cabernet grapes are small and thick-skinned, which means more tannins, color, and structure. Those tannins create that dry, grippy sensation coating your mouth after a sip. The flavor builds on top. Dark blackcurrant, blackberry, plum, cedar, tobacco, and sometimes green bell pepper. Oak aging adds vanilla, espresso, and dark chocolate. Merlot. In 2004, a fictional character said 3 words, "I am not drinking Merlot," and wine sales across the United States collapsed almost overnight. That is how powerful perception is, and it was deeply unfair. Because here is the truth. Merlot is extraordinary. The name comes from the French word for blackbird, possibly because birds could not resist the sweet, ripe fruit. Merlot delivers lower tannins than Cabernet and a lush, velvet texture that feels like the wine is meeting you halfway. You will find notes of plum, black cherry, chocolate, and mocha. In Pomerol, France, it produces Château Pétrus, one of the most expensive wines in the world, made almost entirely from Merlot. The wine Hollywood dismissed produces bottles worth thousands. Pinot Noir. There is a warning that comes with Pinot Noir. Once you taste a truly great one, every other red wine feels slightly smaller. Pinot Noir is the most difficult grape in the world to grow. It is thin-skinned, disease-prone, and violently sensitive to temperature changes. It demands cool climates, specific soils, and a winemaker's undivided obsession. Most grapes forgive small mistakes. Pinot Noir keeps score. But when everything aligns, the color is translucent ruby, almost glowing in the glass. The aromatics arrive immediately: fresh cherry, strawberry, and dried rose petal. Then the depth builds with mushroom, forest floor, and leather. Burgundy in France is the spiritual home, but Oregon, New Zealand, and California each speak the same language with a different accent. Syrah, also known as Shiraz, take one grape, planted in 2 different countries, and produce 2 wines so different that experts argue about whether they belong in the same conversation. That is Syrah and Shiraz, same grape, same DNA, 2 completely different identities. In France's Rhône Valley, it is Syrah, savory, structured, and almost primal with black olive, smoked meat, and cracked black pepper. In Australia's Barossa Valley, it becomes Shiraz, warm and opulent with blackberry jam, dark chocolate, and vanilla. Both versions share one unmistakable signature, a white pepper spice note from a compound called rotundone. DNA analysis confirmed this grape is a completely accidental natural cross between 2 obscure French alpine grapes. Nobody planned it. It just happened. Chardonnay. Ask 10 people what they think of Chardonnay. 5 will make a face, and 5 will reach for their glass. This confusion is the defining characteristic because Chardonnay has almost no personality of its own. The grape is nearly neutral. It acts as a canvas, absorbing the soil, the climate, and every decision a winemaker makes. No other grape is this responsive. In Chablis, it is razor-sharp and mineral with green apple and chalk. In Côte de Beaune, it becomes rich with hazelnut and white flowers. In California, aged in new oak, it transforms into something buttery, tropical, and vanilla-laced. Chardonnay also forms the backbone of Champagne. People who judge the entire grape based on one version are making a serious mistake. Sauvignon Blanc. Most white wines are polite, but Sauvignon Blanc does not wait for anything. The moment it enters your glass, it announces itself, sharp, explosive, and completely unapologetic. Originally from France's Loire Valley, it produces precise, mineral-driven wines like Sancerre with grapefruit and a smoky quality that inspired the name, Fumé. New Zealand rewrote the story in the 1980s with Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc, introducing passion fruit, gooseberry, freshly cut grass, and electric acidity. One official tasting descriptor that stops people cold is cat's pee, not a joke, but a specific chemical compound called a thiol unique to this grape. Once you know it, you smell it every time. Whether from Chile, South Africa, or California, it always carries that same unapologetic presence. Riesling, the greatest white wine in the world with a severe reputation problem. Master sommeliers name it the most noble white grape on earth, yet casual drinkers often assume it is sweet, cheap, and unsophisticated. That reputation is the opposite of the truth. While Riesling can be sweet, it can also be bone-dry, fierce, and minerally savage. The German classification maps this spectrum from Trocken, completely dry, to Trockenbeerenausless, made from shriveled berries producing rare, expensive wine. What holds every style together is its electric, bracing acidity that preserves the wine across decades. A great Mosel Riesling from 1990 is not old, it is still evolving. It rivals the greatest bottles of Burgundy in both quality and price. Pinot Grigio. Try to forget every Pinot Grigio you have ever ordered at a restaurant. What most people know is the lightest, most commercial expression. But stopping there means missing something stunning. The grape has grayish-blue skin and is actually a genetic mutation of Pinot Noir, the same family that produces one of the world's most complex reds. In northern Italy, it is harvested early to be light, crisp, and clean, with notes of green apple and lemon. In Alsace, France, the same grape is harvested late with more skin contact. The color deepens to golden amber, and the body becomes rich with baked peach, honey, ginger, and smoke. It can even be mistaken for a dessert wine in blind tastings. Champagne. The pop of a champagne cork triggers a response in the human brain unlike almost anything else. Something shifts in your chest before a single drop is poured. True champagne comes only from northeastern France. Using the name elsewhere is technical fraud. 3 grapes build the blend: Chardonnay for elegance, Pinot Noir for structure, and Pinot Meunier for fruitiness. The magic happens through méthode champenoise, a second fermentation inside the bottle that traps carbon dioxide to create fine, continuous bubbles. Non-vintage blends maintain a consistent house style, while vintage champagne is released only in exceptional years and aged for at least 3 years. It is a tradition built on centuries of obsessive refinement, chalky soils, and the ultimate sound of celebration. Rosé. For decades, ordering rosé was basically an apology, the choice for people who could not decide. Serious wine drinkers did not touch it. Then Provence Rosé became the most fashionable wine on the planet, and sales tripled globally within a decade. Everyone realized they had been completely wrong. Rosé is its own category with its own complexity. The pink color comes from red grapes being crushed and left against the skins for just hours to a couple of days. Longer contact means deeper pink. Provence produces the gold standard: pale salmon, bone-dry, with fresh strawberry, watermelon, and a mineral finish. It is not a compromise. It is a thoughtful, independent style of wine that the French have quietly mastered for centuries. Malbec's story is about survival. In its birthplace of Bordeaux, France, it was losing, vulnerable to disease and being systematically replaced. By the late 20th century, it had nearly disappeared. Then, Argentina said yes. When Malbec cuttings were carried to Mendoza in 1853, no one knew what altitude would do. Planted at 3,000 to 5,000 feet, intense UV sunlight drives deep color while cool nights lock in freshness. Malbec responded as if it had been waiting for this place its entire existence. The transformation was total: deep purple, almost inky, with waves of blackberry, plum, dark chocolate, and a signature violet floral note. Its tannins are velvety rather than grippy, with a long, warm finish, a grape that found its true home. Moscato. Sometimes you do not want complexity. You want pure, unashamed joy in a glass. That is what Moscato has delivered for over 3,000 years. The Muscat family is one of the oldest on Earth, tracing back to ancient Greece, and every variety carries the same unmistakable floral fingerprint. The most beloved expression is Moscato d'Asti from northern Italy. Lightly sparkling, delicately sweet, and low in alcohol. It features white peach, apricot, orange blossom, and a scent like a spring garden after rain. It is not trying to be complex. It is trying to make you smile, and it succeeds every time. Its primary mission remains uncomplicated happiness, the ancient grape of trade and migration that has never apologized for being delicious.